I actually have, is Brian in here or is he out running around still?
He'll be in just a minute.
Okay. We got a few stragglers coming. It is nice we all like each other so much that we keep talking, isn't it? On the other hand, trying to get them in is sometimes fun. And my tea just arrived, but I have to start talking now. Well, I'm going to start anyway because we have a few announcements. Not really announcements, but just kind of a heads up for what's coming up. This meeting, which we intended to have in the gym with tables and chairs and place to talk, is about the building. And last month we met about the building, came to discussion, and I think there was a consensus, although sorrowful one, that we needed to do something about the building. But on January 26th, we're having our congregational meeting. At that point, we're going to be taking a vote about the future of our congregation. And we've been talking about this formally for about 18 months. Some have been talking longer than that. And Pastor Sinas has led us in a series of meetings and lessons designed to help us know ourselves and understand what we want as a congregation. What direction do we think is best for us, both individually and as a church congregation? But there's still a lot of unanswered questions. So in early January, and it's on the back of close to the back of our bulletin, January 5th is a meeting that we're going to go through and we're going to have in-depth conversations about what each of those options are. What does a merger mean? How much work would it take? We have something called merger light we want to propose. What does that mean? What would that take? What if we don't merge? What if we continue? Those questions we want to go through on January 5th so that we have all the information for our vote at our congregational meeting. So that's what's coming in the future. But today we need to talk about the building. I've heard some people say, and I didn't realize it's in here as a vote, it would be an advisory vote, but I didn't see it as a vote. It's more about you as a congregation helping the council understand what we want to tell people about the building. What are we willing to accept? We don't really have an offer, and before that, we don't know if people come to us, what kind of offer we would accept. Sorry, I have to talk. I have to read, I get too nervous. So last month when we met, we talked about the building was becoming more than our congregation can take care of. The men and women doing most of the work maintaining the building are getting older and can no longer do many of the tasks required. We're a shrinking congregation. So that means we have fewer people to do the work. And so just as the crew is ready to step back, there's nobody to step up and take their place. And with the congregation getting smaller, we have fewer financial support, so we can't even hire out the work. And it's been a great building. It's become a central part of the neighborhood. Many of us have a lot of good memories associated with it. I was married here. But the building is just too big for our current needs. And like most people and organizations, there comes a point when we need to downsize. And that leaves us what to do with the building. The council will be hiring a professional real estate person and most likely an attorney. But they cannot help us if we don't give them any guidelines. And do we even care about what happens to the building? Are we willing to discuss a discount in price to the right organization? Or even do you have second thoughts and think we should keep it? And what do we tell our pros to look for and who to talk to? So I've kind of come up with a sheet. We can pass that out now, Margot. And it's really designed to have conversations and talk about the different options for the disposition of the building and where we want to go. I kind of wanted tables we could sit and write, but I think there's still pencils in the pew. We can figure out how to write on the back of the pew. I'd like you to fill it out. We can discuss it, but I'd also like to have it in writing so the council can actually look at it and put together the information and see where we're at. Oh, Steve, really goes to members because we're actually thinking the advisory should be Holy Cross members. Everyone's willing to listen. So, I think most of you have it. We made 35.
It's a good problem.
Maybe couples can share.
Brian's on it.
Brian's on it. Okay, you can share it till Brian gets copies. So what we have here, there's more.
There's more. Never mind.
We got more, Brian, we're good. And I hope it's not too intimidating. It's a grid, I'm a spreadsheet. I like boxes and squares and stuff. But one of the things to talk about is across the top of that grid is the price. And so that's really, are we willing to sell at a discount to the right organization? And the options I have there are full price offer. That's for if we say, hey, it's just whoever gives us the most money. What if we want to do half price or better? Or a really significant discount? We could give it away. Or you put in an option, just keep it. And one thing to note, some of these, you're not going to fill in every box of the grid because sell to the highest bidder and keep it are kind of contradictory. They don't really work together. So I'd like you to think about where in the grid you think we should be, and there's options. Going down, we have the recipient. Do we care who gets it? Do we just want to sell it to the highest bidder, whether it's a contractor, another congregation, or my husband stands up and says, yeah, I've got money, I'll buy it. That ain't happening. But is it important that it goes to another church congregation? And I didn't put in there whether it's a Lutheran congregation or another one. If you have something you want to say about that, put it in the box with the comments. Or if you want it to go to some other organization we haven't dealt with yet. The other options is Family Promise or Mono a Mono. I put those two on the same line because they both express interest in the building and both want to do something with it. They both have a connection to the community. But if you choose one or the other and it's important to you which one it is, put that in the comments or in the box. The box will be read by people, so it's not a computer that can't tell what different marks mean unless I can't read your chicken scratching, Brian. And then one is just give it to Christ the Good Shepherd. It could be as part of the merger, or it could go to the Oregon Synod. And the last two, really, some of that comes, if you check the box to keep it and we close, it will go to the Oregon Synod. If you check the box to keep it and we choose to merge in January, it will be part of the merger discussion with Christ the Good Shepherd. So some of these kind of create their own consequences, the way they're chosen. And what I have the microphone for is because I expect there to be some questions. What does it mean? You can ask, what does it mean for, we would only entertain a full price offer from Family Promise or Mono a Mono. So those are the kind of questions I'd like to hear from people. Or are you just so confused by what I just said that you're still trying to figure it out?
I wanted to clarify, Lorraine, just for people, when you said if you close, the building goes to the Synod.
Oh, if we close without doing any other action with the building.
Okay, so the Synod doesn't get any money until everything is given away to the utmost of what the congregation wants. Because I just didn't want people to think if we close, the building goes there. You have full control of all monies for this congregation. If you close, you get rid of all of it, and when you're done, the leftovers can go to the Synod. So I don't want people to think.
Okay. No, thank you, that's good clarification. What I was thinking there is if some reason we said we're going to keep going till we run out of money and we're not going to do any planning whatsoever and we end up just having to close unexpectedly and don't do any dispositions of anything, yes, it will go to the Synod. But the council and the congregation is working to dispose of the assets either through merger or giving before that happens. What? Come on, there's got to be some questions.
Is this time to express our opinions?
Yes, please. Because I want
Because
opinions, not just in writing, but so we can hear them and understand your rationale.
Sure. So, I've been around when we talked to Mono a Mono and Family Promise. They have been with us, and we've supported them for a number of years now. And so I would very much like to see a sale to one of those two organizations, and I would be willing to consider a significant discount from full value. I think it would be great for the neighborhood. One thing that's really important is that we need to tell them that we're willing to do this, if we are willing to do it, so that they actually can present full offers, actual legal offers to us that we can then bring to you. I think the other thing to emphasize is we're not going to accept an offer, again, without coming back here. You are going to have to vote on an actual offer. And so this again is what are your preferences? But it's important for us, hopefully, even next week, to let whoever it is, Mano a Mano or Family Promise, if this is your choice, to know that, yeah, we want to go in this direction, and please submit your best offer. My second choice is highest bidder, and I guess that's primarily because of the potential good that we can do with any money we might receive. I mean, we can give a good portion of it to Christ, the Good Shepherd, we can give a good portion of it to Family Promise, and Mano a Mano and benefit them in that respect. What is missing from that is how is that going to affect the neighborhood? And so that's why for me, it's not my first choice. Okay.
Okay, I'm much in alignment with what Steve just expressed. You all know for whom I work and who my passion is with. So you can pretty much guess what I am doing with my own suggestions. What I wanted to remind everyone here of is the good work that we've done in this space for kids with gay hair, for families inside this space, inside our properties function. I would love for the legacy in this space for our congregation to express that into the future.
So obviously, I'm going to piggyback here, not planned, which is just the way it is. I thought about this probably for the last couple of years. We have a lot to celebrate for our congregation in this neighborhood, for all the things that we have done and been involved in. Whatever our decision is, I guess my desire would be that it reflects our mission that we've had for the last 40+ years. Family Promise has been one of those big missions. Mano a Mano has been one of those big missions. And I would just like to see, that said, our legacy is in our missions. And I would love to see those continue in a way that is positive for the neighborhood and the community and Salem. So, yes, I'm leaning towards the Mano a Mano or Family Promise. And I want to make sure that we have the money to do whatever it is that we need to do going forward. But I don't think we need to make a profit for what we've done over the years. So I'd love to see a discount.
If any of you have any questions about what the real intent was, Brian and Steve and I are all here. We can try to answer those for you as well.
That's all right. I just hope this thing is going to turn out to be something decided to sell to a developer. That's my only concern. Okay?
I think I heard you say you want anything besides sell to developer. Is that right? Or was it the other way around? I couldn't hear you very well. Sorry, Gary. Do you know what he said, Lauren?
Yes, he said he just doesn't want it sold to a developer.
Okay, so I got that right.
Well, I worshiped this morning with Heather and my grandchild that Heather was baptized here, as was Zany, who's now a teenager. And so I have a strong interest in retaining a worship space in some form in this building. And the chapel, which is a quiet space. I visited the chapel of the church downtown. So I have a strong interest in somehow retaining this space as a worship and a meditation room, and that could possibly be, yes, the building, Family Promise in Mono, but the possibility of leasing or subleasing a space for that person. And I just would like to add to that, when I came to this church, when my kids were little, 4 and 7, this was a mission church. And the mission church evolved into a church as a neighborhood, as in Salem Leadership Foundation. And I think that needs to be what the emphasis is for the church as a neighborhood.
I can speak to the chapel there, the sanctuary thing, just both of the letters, interest, reserve this space for us as long as we want, in negotiations, it might change, but at this point, both of the letters of interest have that, no matter what we decide to do, merge, stay, close, whatever.
Okay, my mother planted the seed of Christ when he was a young age, and I walked away and I thought, sorry, I got a lot of it was BS. I discovered God before I got here. I took care of my dad for 3 years. A lot of things were going on in my life. I was driving home from Portland at work every day, crying, where he's helping me. Kept tapping, you gotta go back to church, you gotta go back to church. I didn't think well of church people. I thought they were hypocrites. I was freaked out about this place. The Oregon claim was very eerie with the painted lights. I thought religion was responsible for most of the wars. I come knocking on this door, and Doug answered the door. And it was after your service. And I walked in and I said, Doug, believe it or not, I have been called back. The Lord has called me back. Doug understood it. He wasn't surprised. Okay, there's one thing. As I was walking in, I said, are we going to be able to take communion? Do we have to go through this fast? Doug explained it. You don't hold anybody out for their sexual orientation, the color of their skin, what they are, how they believe. So I came to my first few services, and I was greeted with a lot of love, no judgment. It wasn't what I thought it was. I knew why I was coming here. I knew I needed to be healed. I knew that there was other reasons that I needed to come here. And I discovered about 50 of them, and more of them come. Tuesday crews become a family to me, because I love them a lot, and they're really good people. It was about 3 weeks that I discovered that the same people are doing the same things over and over. So it wasn't long before I realized I could help. I'm not the smartest guy, but I can rake leaks and I can do maintenance. This is going to be my family. Doug invited me to choir. Okay, that's something I can do to God. I can sing for him. That is expected for him, and he can't stop it. He's got to accept my love. What does he do? He changes it around. He makes it for me. It was all about me coming there. I got laid off. I was invited to the Tuesday crew. That was the way I could help. I'm going to speak a bit here. There's people, not remember, Carolyn Ford runs all the music, does Bible study. Carolyn Ford has increased my faith and made me a better Christian. Suzanne does everything with Washington Elementary, a great portion of it. She also comes in here with her dog Tina and sets up for us. I started meeting the Tuesday crew. Jack is 90 years old, comes in and changes the reader board out there every day. Find something to do. He ushers. Reba will come in and sharpen pencils, do whatever she can. Peggy, I don't know everything she does, but she counts a lot of money. She's got her office and back. She does things back there that we're needed. Karen, I don't know everything she does, but she's usually the first person that opens, and she's got her own task that does. Her and Matt will come in here and open up the church. On hot days, they're here at 6 in the morning to make sure it's comfortable for you. Gary, who lives in this area, walks this property about every day, picking stuff up. There's needles here every morning. There's stuff laying around that he goes out of his way to pick it up because he cares about it. He cleans the outhouse out here. It's not really his job. That's a whole other subject that we'll get into sometime. But he goes out of his way to do that, and he helps Lonnie a lot. Lonnie, everything in the outside he does. Everything. Gary helps him a lot. But ask Lonnie how many hours he's put in the leaves in the last 2 months. Just dealing with the leaves. This man right here, you have heat, he runs everything as far as keeping the maintenance.
Not too well, is it?
No, not too well today, but hey, one slip out of 50 something.
We're not gonna fire you for it.
No, he really does a lot. And it's amazing to me, and I'm just saying, I'm not putting down anybody. Anybody's reason they have not to come here during the week and help out, it's 120% good. Some people just want to come here and worship, and that's totally fine. I just want to say that. As far as what the Tuesday crew and a lot of those people do, you're really lucky to have them, man. You really are. What I realize is it's not so much money. They're getting tired, man. And within a year, a lot of them are not going to be here doing that. So that's the biggest dilemma that we have right now. On the other hand, the things I've noticed, and we'll talk about council. Lorraine does great. She's so professional in joint council meetings. Steve gives us a lot of insight because he was a lawyer. He's very intelligent. I don't ask him questions about that away from here, but he follows us. Andrew was nothing but love in that place. Matt's out right now, but he ran a lot of the property. Kathy writes everything down we say. One other person that's involved with everything that goes on in this church. He's a paid employee, but he's a member of council, he's a member of the Tuesday crew, he helps us with bells. It might be 0.01% to 100%, but his finger is involved in every little thing that's gone on here. And I'm sorry to tell you that this is nothing I've ever said, and I know that gentleman, Brian, has expressed that this job has been good for me with his family life and that things are going on. That's a blessing. But the other thing that keeps crossing my head is, Brian could probably be somewhere else making a lot more money. That's what's in my head, and I've never said it. So even him, if he can't do everything, his days could be numbered doing this job. The other thing that I realized, and I hope I'm not losing friends on this, that I've asked many times the council and I've asked the Tuesday crew, is the congregation, they seem to be okay with you guys pushing a lot of the agenda. And I haven't heard anything against any of that. And why wouldn't these people feel okay? Because they've been doing it for so long. But I will say that the agenda that I don't know if everybody knows about, but a lot of the agenda that's been talked about for 9 months is selling this place for a cheap price because we're worried about what it's going to look like later. We don't want apartments, we don't want a 7-Eleven. And I understand that, I get that, I have nothing against it. Whatever my vote is going to be is for the people, the elderlies that have been here for 20 years, because you guys are most important to me. I'm just saying right now that what I have learned is Christ the Good Shepherd is pretty much in the same position we're in right now. They are in the same. And I've even heard from important, smarter people than me that they could probably last, we're going to last maybe a little bit longer. We don't know. But the bottom line is that you guys are being thrown out a lot of stuff right now. And I've even heard it in the council that they're a little bit nervous, the work that's going to be coming ahead. They're nervous. They don't know if our congregation is prepared to handle everything, the onslaught of information, and now make a choice, now make a decision. I will say you got to think about where you're heading right now. If you are planning on just walking away from this place and not merging, then you probably want to keep this building. You know, if you want a holy closure, you probably want to keep this building. If you're planning on, you like to see a merger and have Christ the Good Shepherd come over here, which I haven't heard nothing about because we've been talking about this for 9 months. Why should Christ the Good Shepherd say anything? They're just going to sit back and wait. And it doesn't matter. But if you're planning on merging how many people there are and going over there and maybe holding on to some of this congregation, selling it for a cheap price isn't going to get it. Because the congregation right now is few. We're going to have trouble finding a pastor that's going to preach for this, for only that many people. Now, if we can bring $3 million or $2 million, maybe we can find a pastor paying $80,000 a year to do that. So there's a lot of people pushing agendas that I hope everybody's ready to make that decision. My dream, honestly, would be, okay, we can sell this for $30 million or whatever. We can go over there, and the people that don't have many years left that have been a part of this congregation have a place to pray and worship. And we can start over, we can build from the bottom, we can invite everybody in, we can find a mission and maybe keep going, and you never know what will happen. But it's not going to happen with a lot of money. I'm sorry money is involved with that. So I just want to, if this is coming at you too fast, the congregation is what matters. You can stand up and you can say, I am not ready for the vote, and we as the council will say, okay, we'll delay it. We can delay this a month if that's the way to do it, if you're nervous. Because that's what I'm starting to gather. The other thing that's kind of getting me on is a gentleman about 2 months has been preaching this in council on Tuesday. This is Christmas, man. And it's really hard for me right now to think about my Savior's being born. Everything that I live for happened right now. We have to think about this. It's ruining Christmas in a lot of ways for a lot of us. 30% of my energy when I think about the Lord and God every night is thinking, what is going to happen to this building? What is going to happen to the 70, 80-year-olds that are not going to be around? Sorry, guys, but there's a lot of people on the Tuesday crew that, regardless of what happens, this merger, they're not going to be with us. They've made that decision. And not to chastise them, because I love you guys and I don't want to lose you as friends, I'm a little bit more concerned about the congregation over this building. Because we are the church. This building is not our church. Wherever we go, the church is my family. Lauren and Lonnie that I come and see every Tuesday, which I might not agree with them all, or I disagree with them on something. But they treat me well as anybody has ever treated my life, and they love me, and I've learned to love them the way God has taught me to love Him. So, if this is coming too quick, you guys can say something and you can end it. Because we can haul this off for another month if you want. Because I really think this is being pushed really hard, and I'm feeling it from a lot of the people in the council, from other people, like this is going to be a lot of work and this might end up and shoot us in the foot. And feel free to speak your mind if that's on your. I may be wrong, but I just want to make sure you as the congregation know fully what's going on. And trust me, I love you guys, and I will stay with my congregation for as long as I can. I don't know how long I'll be able to stay if there's not a pastor preaching to me. I can't ask Brian every week to go write a sermon, or Lauren or somebody that can stand up and lead it. That's going to be really hard. And if we don't have money taking us over there, this congregation within a year or two is going to be done to both of us. So that's something you can think about. I just think that my congregation and my relationship with Jesus Christ is a little bit more important than this building. Because you know what? We could sell this building to Model Family Promise. I'm not saying they're going to, but they might not be able to handle it. They can turn around and sell it for $4 billion and make a big profit. And nobody knows what's going to be here in 20 years. Them are the things I think we got to think about. Think of yourself and your relationship with God. And what coming, dude, this is what refills me. This is my well, like Pastor said. This is what refills me every day. And I love everyone here like almost as much as I love I love Reba. That's what I think of you guys like that. So you got to think about your future and where this is heading. It'd be great to see this not to be an apartment complex. And yeah, people need a place to live too. And maybe if you're not going to be here, maybe we should think more about, even if there's 10 people that want to merge and go to Christ Good Shepherd and use this as an asset to keep going, that, you can rebuild from the bottom up. That's something you can consider, so think before you make your vote today, if you're choosing to make a vote today. Thank you. Mr. Warren.
Thank you.